Warning. This podcast may contain spoilers from whatever TV show or movie is mentioned. Please listen at your own discretion. Welcome to Viewers Anonymous.
Yo, what's going on? I am Steve Brunson.
And I am S. Foster.
That's right, and you tuned into another episode of the Viewers Anonymous podcast where we give you takes and reviews of movies and TV straight out of Hollywood. What's going on, brother?
Man, I can't call it, man. Just getting ready for this 6-day week, which I'm not happy about. But you know what I'm saying? But your boy gotta do what he gotta do out here in these streets. But how you feeling though, man? Everything good with you?
Man, I'm feeling amazing. I'm ready to pod, brother. I'm excited about this weekend, you know what I'm saying? And man, I'm also excited because, the boy Shees hit me up. Well, he hit everybody up, but we talked a little bit off, you know what I'm saying, off mic and out the way. And man, listen, he got a dope project coming up. You know what I'm saying? I told him I wanted to be a part of it, so he said he's gonna keep me informed on it. I can't wait till this happens because when it do, bro, this shit is gonna be dope. So, y'all stay tuned. If you listening, stay tuned. Make sure y'all follow me on Twitter so y'all can get all the information on this because this shit is going to be fire.
Oh shit. Cool, man. I actually listened to the episode that y'all put out yesterday, man. Well, I don't know if it came out yesterday or today. But anyway, I listened to it today. So y'all put together a good pod, man. You know what I'm saying? We were speaking about this before we started. And I was like, it's always good to go back and like hear those stories of like when we first started, all of the BS that we had to deal with in the early beginnings. You spoke about when we first started doing it, we was on Zoom and it was just like, man, it was, but we had some times, man, with lost pods and all types of shit like that. So yeah, man, it's good to hear about them early days, man, of just getting started.
Man, and it was a fun pod to do because you know what I'm saying, like you don't get a chance a lot to talk about how, you know what I'm saying, like you got into the pod game or you even got into making content, period. And this is something that I've been doing for like a very long time. Like I remember making videos and stuff in high school using, you know what I'm saying, PowerPoints and Windows Movie Maker. So this was something that I've been doing like really forever. And then like for it to all culminate into this and you know what I'm saying, like what I'm doing now is dope just to see it all coming to like a smooth fruition.
Oh yeah. Yeah, man, like so those early times, man, it was wild, man. Like man, going back, especially like going back and listening like to some of my earlier especially the Stolen Time podcast episodes, it was just like some of the audio, it was not good audio because y'all was talking about like when he was saying like not using mics and shit.
Horrible, bro.
Yo, me and Aunt used to pod. I would sit my phone in the middle of the table, my guy. We would record on not StreamYard, on SoundCloud with the phone just sitting in between us, and that's how we recorded the pod. Like yo, it was some times back then.
We did the same thing with Already Home, bro. We used to have a laptop literally sitting in the middle of us. This before I learned. I mean, like I had to use headphones and all that. We just set the laptop in the middle of us. I sat on one side, he sat on the other side, and we just started going back and forth. But I'd never forget that.
Yes, sir, man. But we definitely came a long way, learned a lot, and everything, man. So yeah, it was but y'all did a good job, man. Shout out to Siege.
Yeah, for sure. Shout out to Siege, man. I appreciate it. And you know what I'm saying? Make sure y'all go check that out. Also, you know what I'm saying? You had an episode with Siege as well. On the Link podcast, part of the Link ENT. So y'all go check that out. It's a dope pod, and you know what I'm saying? There's some very interesting people on there. Make sure you go check out S. Dot's episode and my episode as well. And man, let's go ahead and get into our favorite segment. You know what I'm saying? The segment that we love the most. Segue. A segment we like to call What We Watching.
Let's do it.
What we watching? So, what do you have this week, my brother?
So, man, what I got this week, when I did the what we watched last week, I said I actually had three, but I only gave y'all two. So that third one was actually a movie. I went to the movies on my birthday to go see to finally go see the Avatar movie. What is it? Avatar Body of Water or whatever. I forgot what it's called. The Way of Water. So what I mean, I heard people tell me, yo, this movie is super long, right? So I'm like, okay, yeah, movies are long, all right. But you don't really realize it until you actually go in there and go watch it. Like I had a 12:35 showing. I did not leave that movie theater until 4 o'clock. That is wow. So going into it, like what I wish I would have done was watch the first one um over again because I mean like the first one came out like I mean over a decade ago. So I kind of had to refresh my memory by sitting there watching it. And honestly, the only opinion that I'm gonna give it right now is that I think that he should have split this up. I think it should have been two parts.
Mm,
Um,
like some
I
Avengers
think
shit.
yeah, like I think that when the first little battle went on, when it comes to the jungle or the forest or whatever you want to call it, and before they actually went to the water people or whatever, they should have stopped the
Mm,
movie there and then you know what I'm saying, release the other one like 6 months later or something. Like, yeah, that movie, the same way I feel about the new Avatar movie is the same way I feel about the Irishman. The Irishman should have been split
oh,
up
okay.
because
Yeah.
I like the first time I watched I don't think I've never watched the Irishman all the way through. Like I've always had to break it
Really?
up in sections. Yeah, because it's so long. It's like I could
Yeah.
only watch like an hour and a half of it, maybe 2 hours, and then pause
Yeah.
it, come back into it the next day, and finish it
Mm,
out. And I've seen The Irishman twice, but in both times
yeah.
I've watched it with breaking it up because it takes up too much of your time. And that's kind of how I felt about this Avatar movie. Now, don't get me wrong, it was good, but it's just like, man, it was just super long. So, but what I will say, so they got three biological kids at this point,
Mm,
and when it comes to that middle son, yo, you'll see what I'm talking about when you see it. I'm just gonna
right.
leave it there. But what I went to go see, man, my what we watching is Avatar: Way of Water. So yeah, that's my what we watching this week.
That's what's up, man. So for my what we watching this week, man. You guys already know I'm a huge comic book guy. Um, you know what I'm saying? Super nerd when it comes to it. I went and watched Batman Soul of a Dragon. It's on HBO Max. It's a DC animated movie, and it's dope as hell because it's set in the 1970s. It has a quote unquote Bruce Lee character in it, and it also has a quote unquote Jim Kelly character in it. So it's kind of paying homage to those old kung fu movies in the 60s and 70s. And then it's also, you know what I'm saying, adding that Batman element to it. And so it's kind of like Enter the Dragon, but the
Okay.
Batman version of it. So I mean, it's a dope film. You know what I'm saying? You get to see like basically Bruce Wayne going to this like private dojo where you know what I'm saying the sensei is kind of teaching them, you know what I'm saying, the ways of the dragon and so on and so forth, and then eventually come to find out that the evil villain in it he's like this snake monster or whatever, and he's a human but he has like the power of the snake or some weird shit like that, or the power of the quote unquote dragon. And then he basically, you know what I'm saying, has to fight Batman, but he takes over the sensei's body. And so after he does that, him and Batman get into a fight. It's pretty good. The one guy that's supposed to be Bruce Lee is named Richard Dragon, and then it's the other dude who's supposed to be Jim Kelly in the movie. He's voiced by Michael Jai White. So I mean, like it's a good movie, bro. It's dope as hell. So y'all go check that out. It's on HBO Max. called Batman: Soul of a Dragon.
That's what's up, man. And just because you said the name, Michael Jai White don't get enough credit,
At all.
especially for his martial arts. Like like for me, the one movie that we really got to see it displayed the most, well, it's actually two. Spawn, obviously, but
Hmm.
the one when he was in
Blood and
jail,
Bone.
Blood and Bone. Like those are the two, but it's just like I don't think there's a new movie that he got coming out. It looked like it might be alright. Um, I saw the trailer for it when I went to go see Avatar.
Hmm.
He got this new movie that's coming out where you know what I'm saying, where he's using his martial arts skills as well. So man, shout out to
Yeah.
that dude, man, because he
Yeah,
he
and for anybody out there that say that we don't got black action heroes, you are totally mistaken, bro. Michael Jai White is still holding it down in the action arena. Also, we gotta shout out Michael Jai White because not only did not only is he, what I'm saying, a martial arts master, and what I'm saying, he's one of the only people to actually be an actor and an actual martial artist. Um, he actually wrote, directed, and starred in Black Dynamite. That's all his creation. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to him for that too. That is actually a black owned and black produced and black written film. So shout out to Michael Jai White for that as well. If you've never seen Black Dynamite, I'm telling you right now, watch it. One of the funniest movies of all time, hands down.
and other than, in my opinion, other than I mean, well, okay, Bruce Lee was good. Bruce Lee was the total
Mhm.
package. Um, Wesley Snipes, total package.
Mhm.
But the other two people that I'm going to mention who are really, really good at martial arts. Okay, now that I say that, now I'm starting to forget about people. Jet Li and Jackie Chan,
Mhm.
both total packages. I forgot about them.
Mhm.
But I've really started this whole thing to really kill two people: Steven Seagal and John Claude Van Damme.
Absolutely. Not
These
John Claude, but
motherfuckers
Steven
can't
Seagal
act.
for sure.
Listen, I like John Claude Van Damme, but listen, dude,
It's his
you're not.
accent.
It might be that because it's like he just cannot. He's not a great actor. Like he's not.
It's just his accent. He's a great actor. It's his accent. He
I
can't
don't
change
know,
accent
man.
for shit.
Now, don't get me wrong. Now he got two of my favorite movies, man. The Kickboxer and Bloodsport.
Mhm.
I love those two
Mhm.
movies, but it's just like the acting is like, yo, man, it's kind of subpar, man. It's like it's
Come
not.
on, man. I'm telling you, it's his accent, bro. It's the same thing with Arnold Schwarzenegger. Like people say Arnold Schwarzenegger can't act. He can. It's his fucking accent. The accents make everything so much worse. I'm telling you. If you got an accent that people don't like, nobody will like you. Steven
I feel
Seagal,
you.
he's just trash. There's a if y'all listen, if y'all ever I probably said this on the pod before, but I'm definitely about to say it again. If you ever get time, it's a video. I'm talking to anybody listening to this. It's a video on YouTube of Steven Seagal doing a martial arts demonstration. And he is literally faking it through this whole demonstration. Dudes are coming up to him and he's literally holding his hand out and grabbing their hand at the top and just flipping them. And all he's doing is flicking his wrist, and they all flip over. And when I tell you this is the worst martial arts demonstration of all time, I've never seen something so absurd in my life. So if you ever get a chance, go on YouTube, look up Steven Seagal exaggerated martial arts. And I'm telling you, it never fails, bro. That video pops up. But he's flipping like 5 or 6 dudes over. And when you see it, you'll be like, bro, ain't no way he's flipping them over in real life, bro. That's not it's not real at all, bro. But it's a real life martial arts demonstration. But it's just all bullshit. It gotta be.
I seen it.
That shit is horrible, bro. He flipping the fuck out, but he doing the noises and everything. He like, hey, I'm like, bro, you're not doing nothing, bro. You're not doing nothing, bro. I'm not convinced, man. I'm not convinced Steven Seagal has ever done real martial arts. To me, he like the fat version of Walker Texas Ranger. I know that Chuck Norris really know karate and he really know martial arts, but Steven Seagal is the fake fat version of Walker Texas Ranger.
Oh, but that is hilarious. Yo, when I tell
I
you,
can't stand Steven Seagal, bro.
I used to hate that show. My dad used to love
What, Walker
Walker,
Texas
man.
Ranger? Bro, that's the
Yes,
show,
man.
bro. What are you talking about?
I did not
This
like that
nigga,
show,
this nigga
man.
dressed up as a cowboy. He had a black sidekick, and they just did karate on everybody. I don't give a fuck if they had guns. I don't care what kind of gun it was. They could have had a pistol, shotgun, AK, or rocket launcher. Didn't matter. Walker, Texas Ranger, and the black dude was coming in, and they was fucking shit up, and all they did was karate, bro, through the whole show. They never shot a pistol. They never used a weapon, a knife, nothing. All they did was did karate, bro, and they kept it down in Walker, Texas.
Yo, man, my dad used to love that show, man. Man, that's
Bro,
funny.
that shit is
That's
hilarious,
funny.
bro.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, your dad got great taste, bro. Walker Texas Ranger was that joint, bro. For sure. I'm not even gonna lie to you. That show was fire, bro. But man, let's go ahead and get into it, man. This is what we all are here for, the feature presentation. Ladies and gentlemen, we are coming to you this episode with Hunters season 2, the final episode, the final season. Um we did an episode on season 1, and how amazed we were by it, how great that show was, you know what I'm saying, how well they did, how the cast did such a great job. Season 2, the last one, what are your thoughts and opinions?
So, first of all, like you mentioned, this is the second time we did the first season. I mean, man, I think that had to be 2 years ago when we did the first
Yeah.
season, and this got to be an ecstatic week for you. You know what I'm saying? 2 episodes straight, we're talking about Adolf Hitler. Like, now,
Come on, man.
don't take that the wrong way, people. It's just,
At all.
yeah, it's just, it's wild that it even came
I'm a
about this
World
way.
War II enthusiast. That's why he's saying that.
Yes.
For the people
Yes.
that's new here,
Exactly.
I'm a World War II enthusiast. I'm very intrigued with the event of World War II and the events surrounding World War II.
Yes, definitely. But I was wondering, I had texted you when I was done with like episode 6, and I was like, yo, I'm trying to think how I'm going to approach this. Because with this season, you know, with it being 8 episodes, you know, it's hard to cover everything. So you kind of gotta, you know, take things from here and there. And so I'm watching it and I'm like, man, I don't really know how to approach it. But I think the way they was able to come up with the story that they did, and for the people that don't know, like, this is basically a show of like, I mean, you would probably do better with the synopsis than me, but it was just more of like, so you have these Jewish people who were either former prisoners and some people who were like, I'm guessing they were family members of people who were involved in the Holocaust and all that type of stuff, maybe they escaped or whatever the case may be. But like, so they're basically going to they're hunting all of these Nazi people and basically punishing them for their war crimes, and they're looking for Hitler at the same time. This last season, the very last thing that you saw was this one guy that was a part of the team. He got captured, and they ended up taking him to Hitler. So they kind of pick up where they left off. But I mean, listen, to be honest, I'm not gonna get into it right now because I want to hear your thoughts. But I gotta say this: that episode 8, that court scene might have been the best court scene I've ever seen in a show or a movie in my whole life. They completely murdered that. Let me say that right here, right now. We can get into it in detail later, but I just had to say that. For you,
I agree.
I
think that. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say that. I wanted to hear your thoughts on it because you was the one who introduced me to this show in the first place. You know what I'm saying? Like 2 years ago when we did
Hmm.
the first one. So seeing this being capped off and this being the last season, throw that question back to you. How did you feel about it?
I loved it. You already know how I feel about this show already. The show is basically just like he gave the quick synopsis. Is basically a group of people who were affected either by the Holocaust or what I'm saying were family members of someone connected by the Holocaust or somebody who was just basically ready to fight for liberation who quote unquote were oppressed. Um, and I don't mean that quote unquote sarcastically. I just use quote unquote oppressed for basically lack of a better term. But yeah, I love this show only because what it did was it added a very intricate story into one of probably the most heinous times. Well, not probably. It's one of the most heinous times in history. And not only did they find a way to do it in such a cool way, they did it in a way where it was years after the situation, right? And so, for anybody who's aware of Operation Paperclip and all of the propaganda after World War II, you know that America, Britain, and a host of other countries basically recruited and kind of immigrated Nazi scientists into their society um, to kind of get, what I'm saying, a technological or scientific advantage on other countries. And so Operation Paperclip is basically uh, America's version of that. So what they did was they allowed for Nazi scientists to either integrate into America or they allowed them to basically um, integrate into American lands, but they would basically have to be considered like either U.S. citizens or a part of some type of U.S. Um, it's not citizenship; it's something else. It's basically like if you get a green card or whatever. So basically, you classified as what I'm saying an American, and so when they did that, what I'm saying, like they ended up coming up with all of these different programs and all of these different inventions and stuff like that. So that's how we ended up getting NASA because of Werner von Braun, who used to be an ex-Nazi scientist. One of the members of like the United Nations in like the 50s or 60s. I mean, not the 50s or 60s. I'm sorry. One of the members of like the United Nations in like the 80s. What I'm saying, was a part of it in the 50s and 60s. NATO had an ex-Nazi that was like the one of the chairmen or something like that. So like they've been a part of like a bunch of different shit without really, what I'm saying, people actually knowing. And so what this show kind of does is it takes the story and it kind of incorporates all that into the story, which I thought was dope. And what they do is they basically hunt down those ex-Nazi scientists and members of the, what I'm saying, Gestapo and SS, and they come to find out that, what I'm saying, Adolf Hitler is still alive. And they basically like, yo, we got to go find this motherfucker. Not only is he alive, so is Ava Braun. And if you don't know who Ava Braun is, that was supposed to be the girlfriend slash wife of Adolf Hitler. Um, so for me, I thought it was dope because they did a great continuation of the story, right? They brought Joe back. And not only that, what they did was they did a super dope thing without actually explaining it. And um, they basically used the Nazi version. Well, they basically used mind control to convert Joe over to being with, what I'm saying, Adolf and Ava. And that what the technique that was used, of course, was used in internment camps and during the Holocaust, but and in prisoners of war during World War II. But that ended up becoming the MK Ultra program in America. So the stuff that you hear about MK Ultra is old Nazi tactics and stuff like that. and that's where they kind of learn that thing. That's where they kind of learn the processes of MK Ultra from. And so, um, I enjoyed this so much. But the one thing that I kind of as I was watching this, and you got to shout out the I forgot what the lady's name that played Roxy is, but you got to shout her out because the one thing that always
Uh,
like kind of
Tiffany
bothered
Boone.
me about this, yeah, Tiffany Boone, shout out to her. The one thing that kind of bothered me about this show was is that you had these and the lady that played Millie as well too. She did a great job as well. Um, but the you had these two black women um who were in the midst of during the 60s and 70s and everything else like that, who were dealing with a time of racism and injustice and everything else. And they were in this group in which they were helping the another oppressed group kind of gain, you know what I'm saying, their I don't really gain their justice, right? And it
Hmm.
was it kind of I don't want to say rubbed me the wrong way, but it was just kind of weird to me because like you have these two black women who are kind of fighting for the rights of and the justice of Jewish people, yet and still like all of this shit is still going on with black people, and I think that they kind of did a great job of mentioning that in the first episode. I mean, in the first season when Roxy was leaving or whatever, and she was like, I'm out here helping y'all people, but I still got my own fight to fight. And she was talking about basically the Black Revolution and everything like that. But I thought that was interesting the way that they added that in there. Um, but I feel like that was a great way because they kind of brought that back in this season when she had got shot and how she was like having a flashback of her talking to her dad and her being at the meetings trying to free her sister from prison. Because her sister was wrongfully, arrested. And like just all of these different things that to me you kind of think of that time. Like we talking about the late 70s. You know what I'm saying? This is like the time of I mean like the flower child and the hippies and all this other stuff. And we still like racism is still fresh in America at this time, like super, super fresh, like in your face fresh. And I thought that was interesting to have those two black women kind of go along with that. And then not only that, to have Millie be a lesbian black woman was also
Hmm.
interesting because at that time, like, we didn't really see, what I'm saying, like homosexuality in the 70s like that, even though we know it's always been going on, we never actually seen it. But to see it from a black woman was interesting as well. But to see the what I'm saying, the crew come back, and then to see what's the lead character's name?
Like Jonah.
Jonah. To see Jonah kind of grown up, what I'm saying, doing his own thing and kind of being the head of the group now that he, what I'm saying, he killed Max and everything else. And him figuring out how Max was his grandfather and all that type of different shit. It was interesting. And then not only that, we also got into Max's life and we figure out the story behind Max's life and why he created the Hunters or why he formed this group and tried to get all of these guys. And none of this was because of he wanted to help out, what I'm saying, people to do his faith. It was really because he was trying to cover his own ass at the end of the day. And so I thought that was super interesting, like him and then Jonah finding out that he has a whole aunt out here who was working with Max and working with his grandmother and what I'm saying, like he still has some family left. I just thought the way that they put this story together was amazing. I enjoyed it. I really liked this shit. The shit was dope.
True. And so just to play devil's advocate with your one point about Millie and what's my girl name
Roxy.
and Roxy, it's like it's also nice to I think this could be more of a representation thing. Like having
Absolutely.
black people in it. You know what I mean? And like, yeah,
Absolutely.
like they was also because when you think about this being pretty much based in the 70s, it's like I mean you got the Civil Rights Act in 64 and the Voters Act in 65, so it's not too far away from that. You know what I'm saying? It's not too
Hmm.
far away from what I'm saying Jim Crow and all those things. And with
It ain't too
Roxy
far away from
being
the Black Panther Party either.
yeah, she was a militant person. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So I appreciated that about her character, but at the same time, I think that with with her joining this cause is, I guess what I'm trying to say is just being represented. Like even though it's
Yeah.
fighting for another people cause, I would say, but I still think that it was nice to see them represented. You know what I mean? Just to have those characters in there. So I thought that was nice because I don't think Roxy was her and Millie. I think they were both unapologetically black, but at the same time,
Absolutely.
I think that they were just like, yo, I think it was more of a like, we could do two things at once. Like I can
Hmm.
I can help with this cause as well because this was a fucked up thing that happened. But you know what I'm saying? But my people was going through some shit too because it showed flashbacks with her and her father in a in the episode or two when before Roxy went to go help them, like it showed
Hmm.
her and her father, having discussions about what she was planning on doing. So I thought that was cool to put that in there. And Jonah, dude, that dude looked completely different with short
I
hair,
told
no
you he looked
beard,
like
and a
the young
beard.
Keanu Reeves and John Wick.
Dude, that was crazy. Like I really did not even recognize him in the beginning. I was like, wait a
Yeah.
minute, is that the same guy? So it was funny seeing him that way, and then seeing what he's going through. And I thought that his aunt had a really good point when it came to
Hmm.
calling him out on his shit when he asked her because his wife ended up well not wife, his fiance ended up tracking him down.
Hmm.
And so the storyline between him and his wife with him trying to be a hunter and he's trying to hunt down Nazis and hunt down Hitler and all this type of stuff, and he's trying to keep it from his fiance. And so he ended up coming up with a really really good lie and basically asked his aunt to lie for him. And then she was playing along in the beginning, but then she was just like nah. And so she ended up telling them what she does, well, what both of them do. And so found out about him killing a little kid by accident because well, it
Yeah.
wasn't by accident. It was just more of like, I mean, the kid was about to kill him. You know what I'm saying? He just
Absolutely.
kind of had to do what he had to do to stay alive. And I get the point that she was saying because this is kind of like the Batman thing of where it's like Batman and Spider Man, like any kind of like superhero, is kind of like you never can really be in like a full fledged relationship because people are always going to come for your spouse. So, and
Right.
what his aunt was saying was like, yo, if you really love her, you will basically let her go.
Hmm.
And I thought that was I thought it was a good message, but at the same time, I think that the reason why she said that is because she wasn't able to continue her relationship with what she had because
Absolutely.
she had to let hers go. So she was just like, yo, so if I got to be miserable, you got to be miserable too. Like that's what it kind of felt like to me because
Yeah.
she wasn't able to continue her relationship. So she basically tried to fuck his up and say that you can't do both things. Which
Right.
she's she's kind of right, but you know what I'm trying to say. Like
Well,
it's one
I
of
don't
those
know
things
if she
where it's
was.
really in the. But she came back though.
She did, but and the only reason I think that she came back was because, like, okay, so like, think about this, right? It's 1979, and you know what I'm saying? The World War II has passed and gone and everything else. And you got this, you know what I'm saying, like your fiance hit you with, yeah, man, but I gotta find Hitler and kill him. Or not even your fiance's auntie tells you, we gotta find Hitler and kill him. You be like, find Hitler and kill him? Like, fam, Hitler's dead. Nah, he ain't though. And you find out that basically they going around hunting Nazis. Like, that's gonna ring off a little different because you don't know what they know. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't have the information that they have. Like these motherfuckers are literally tracking down Nazis, like finding them, getting information out of them, and killing them and off of them. And so to you, you just looking at the situation like, okay, this motherfucker tripping. We all know that Hitler died, him and his wife. They died in a bunker, blah blah blah. The Russians burned the body, blah blah blah. Only to find out after you done got mad at this man, you done got shot at and all this other shit. You done had enough. You leave. You look on TV, and this motherfucker Adolf Hitler is sitting in the courts on TV. You gotta feel like a dumbass at this point. You really gotta feel like shit. You gotta be sitting there like, holy shit, I cannot believe this motherfucker really found Hitler. Like this shit is crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like to me, like that type of shit, you know what I'm saying, makes sense. Um, so I honestly don't know. Like I felt like at the end of it all, like he didn't really necessarily like have to leave her. I think it was more so the point like he just needed to be honest with her. You know what I'm saying? Like of course you could let her in and tell her, hey, you know, this is what we going through. But at the end of the day, like to me, the fact that when he said Hitler and she didn't even believe him, I get it. You know what I'm saying? You just got kidnapped. You going through a lot. You trying to process it. But let's keep it real, my G. If two motherfuckers just come up and grab you out of nowhere and hold you in a barn and you hear all these gunshots and everything else, you kind of got to be in the back of your head like, all right, I know he said Hitler, but maybe this motherfucker is right.
Yes,
Like,
for people to
what are these
go,
motherfuckers really on though?
yeah, to go to that extent where you are kidnapped and you really honestly believe that these guys gonna kill you because you're trying to have a conversation with one guy, and
Mm-hmm.
you know he got the gun on you, telling you to shut up, but you can't. Which that, yo, that is the worst thing to do in that moment. If someone is holding a
Absolutely.
gun to your head and you will not stop talking, it's like that's not a good plan. But
At
anyway,
all.
the point that I'm making is like for these people to go to that extent, you got to be like, you know what? Maybe not even maybe. There has to be some truth to what he is saying.
It's something to it. It's something to it.
So for you to see it firsthand, for these people to kidnap you, and then you have to realize, yo, you know what? Maybe this Hitler stuff is real. And then, like you
Mm-hmm.
said, for the trial to be on TV and you actually see this dude sitting in this glass
You gotta
thing
feel
in the
like a
courtroom,
complete dumbass.
yeah, you got to be like, you know what? This dude is doing some really dangerous shit, and
Mm-hmm.
he's doing something that's bigger than himself and something that is bigger than me. And for
Yep.
someone to be able to do that, like you gotta tip your hat to them. And
Mm-hmm.
so this is something I want to talk to you about. I mean, obviously, you know what I'm saying, we do this part together. You can cover some other shit if you want. But for me, episode 7 and 8 was
Mm-hmm.
just out of here. And when it comes to
Premium.
episode
Oh my
seven
god.
was like so
Amazing.
it's this amazing house that this guy is an old couple, and the guy was an architect, and he built this house with all of these traps in it. And
Mm-hmm.
when they first getting into it, I love the way they set it up because they kept talking about like ghosts, and my man is sitting there telling a joke. And
Mm-hmm.
the way they set it up, you think that the dude is crazy and that he actually think that
Absolutely.
there's a ghost in his house because he's like, yo, y'all want to hear a joke? And he was like, do you want to hear a joke? And like there's a rocking chair beside of him, and the chair is rocking.
It just keep
Okay,
rocking.
it just keeps rocking. So you're thinking, damn, this dude really got a ghost in the house. And so he
Mhm.
tells this joke, and then you thinking that these people are crazy. And then come to find out, he have Jews hiding all through the house, in the walls, in the attic, in the floor, all of this stuff, right? And
Yep.
so you have these Germans. They come check out the house to see, like, yo, we heard that there was some Jews being hid here. So they're like, nah, we wouldn't hold no Jews, but they're acting everything off. And the one thing that I thought was really creative with what they did with the writing was they had the blueprints to the dude's house. And so
Mhm.
the one officer, so you got two cops, well, you got two officers walking through the crib trying to see if they're hiding anything. And one is sitting there talking to them. And so the one that stayed downstairs to talk to the old couple, he's taking the steps to the wall, and he was like, well, it says that it's supposed to be like 17 meters or something like that. And he was like, it's only 15. So something is behind this wall. I thought that it was really, really creative to put that in there. And then you start to see the traps that are going through the house, where the one guy, he had went down like in the bathroom, so he got to take a shit. He get some
Mhm.
toilet paper, and he sees that there's a door in the wall. He goes down there. They completely fuck my man up, and then my other dude, he gets hung up, and then his stomach sliced. You see intestines just hanging out, blood going everywhere, all this type of stuff. Man, listen, episode 7 was fire, dude.
Am I back?
Oh yeah, you bet, you
Okay.
bet.
Cool.
So
Yeah, I was agreeing. I said absolutely.
yeah, I just think that because I was wondering, because the way the episode 6 ended,
Mhm.
you wonder like, okay, where they gonna pick up at, and then they go to this completely different story and different characters that we never seen before, and so you pick up from there, and then it's just like, okay, so once those three officers get killed, you know that there's going to be more people to come. And so
Mhm.
then another group of Nazi people, Nazi officers come. Then they ended up getting killed because one of the dudes want the damn house. He was like, yo, I
Right.
love this house. And he was like, we can't go back empty handed. Like, we don't know where the other three officers are. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna bring these two bodies back and say that their house was empty, and I'm gonna keep the house. And so the Jewish people that are hiding in the house, they got to make a decision. Do we leave when they take these bodies out, or do we try to stay here and keep this thing rolling? And they decided to stay. So they staying in the house, and the the one German officer that shot the old couple, he brings his wife and his kid in there, and they're living in the house, trying to be quiet and all this type of stuff. And what they're doing, they're sending the one kid downstairs to get them food and bring them food back up there and all this type of shit. And their child, the German people child, ended up seeing the child that was in there. And so the one lady saw him, so she comes down. They was gonna kill the little boy, and then they said, "Yo, we don't do that." And so another thing that I thought was very unique was the lady was like, so they killed the German people that are in there, and they come up with a story of, yo, he was cheating on me, so he left, and so
Mhm.
she played the wife. Man, it's just, I just thought the writing in the final two episodes was really good, man. Like, what are like? Come on, man, you got to give it to me. What was you thinking, man, with episode 7? Because I thought episode 7 might have been the best episode.
To me, I absolutely thought episode 7 was the best episode. Not only did I think it was the best episode, I think this was some of the best writing um in Hollywood that I've seen in a long time. Um, the story of the German architect who basically built all of these houses and rooms and offices, and then also also built spaces for internment camps. He ends up basically being like this Robin Hood figure who, you know, he don't believe in what the Nazis are doing, but he's doing it, of course, to keep his family safe. So instead, what he does is um he decides to harbor Jewish people in his house by basically creating these rooms, like you said, in these like spaces within his house to keep them safe. I thought that that was super dope. Um, not only for the fact that you get that moment where the Gestapo pulls up, and like you said, when it first comes on, you have no idea what the fuck is going on. You just hear like this old German man talking about some joke or whatever, and then his wife come in and she like, what are you talking about? He was like, oh, nothing. I was just telling a joke, nothing. And she don't even like acknowledge the fact that she wasn't in the room when she told the joke. And then you see her singing, and then she go, "Now you don't hear nothing." And then she, "Now me," and then start singing again. And you like, okay. So then when they say, "Yeah, it's ghosts in this house," then in your head you like, "Oh shit!" Like this is different. This is like nigga, we about to get ghosts in this shit. Only to come, you know what I'm saying? Like only to basically find out like it has nothing to do with the ghost. Excuse me. It's is basically them harboring, you know, Jewish people. And when the Gestapo pull up and they like, yeah, we heard that basically you have, you know what I'm saying, like Jewish people here. I thought that that was super interesting because of who he was. This is like the best German tech. I mean, the German tech. This is the best architect in Nazi Germany at the time. Like he's like the top dog. He's like number one, numero uno. And then they get word that he's harboring fugitives. And so, like, when the first two dudes, they, you know what I'm saying, doing the sweep or whatever, the big dude, I automatically knew he was going to get fucked up the worst because why are you in these people's house taking the shit, my boy? You didn't ask to use the
Yeah.
bathroom. What the fuck type of shit is that? What type of manners is that? That's fucked up. What if you'd have flooded their toilet? You know what I'm saying? People don't think about shit like that. It was rude as fuck, man. But basically, you know what I'm saying? He ran out of toilet paper. He looking the thing. He see some kid writing on the wall. He like, yo, I know it's just these two here. What the fuck is this? Move all the toilet paper out, find an opening, go down there, see a little girl, goddamn big ass concrete block, boom, following this shit. Basically, squish my man in half. And then the one dude, he hear a noise. When he hear a noise, he, you know what I'm saying, smacking on the ceiling with a fucking broomstick. I don't know where the fuck he got the broomstick from, but only basically to see that it's a bunch of people in the attic, and you know what I'm saying? He not only did he get hung up and strung up by a rope around his neck, he also got cut in half. So I thought, you know what I'm saying, that was crazy. But the young dude that was with him, the third Gestapo officer, he basically was like, "Yo, you know, I'm a huge fan of yours. You know what I'm saying? I followed you and da da da. I wanted to become an architect as well, blah blah blah." And like they got rid of my man. And when the second group came around to check on the Gestapo officers, and dude was like, um, "Yeah, I just wanted to basically, you know what I'm saying, I wanted the house." So he killed them both, and I'm like, "Yo, that's fucking crazy." But he did make a great point. He said, "Yo, if we don't come back with them, or if we don't come back with no information on them, basically we all fucked. So either
Yeah.
we gonna be like, yo, they was harboring, you know what I'm saying, Jews, or shit, nigga, we can all go and you know what I'm saying, it's gonna be on us." And so, you know what I'm saying, he did what he did, but he deserved everything he got. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Oh yeah.
And then did you peep that the young boy was his aunt's ex-husband?
No, I
So
didn't.
remember she was talking about, I think his name was Vez or something, they call him Vez or whatever. But that was the man that she kept referring to when she was talking about how she got left behind by her husband and everybody else. That was him when he was young, and that kind of helped him on his journey of being the what did they call him, the goat, was it the ghost?
I think it was.
It was like the ghost in the woods or some shit like that. But that was who he was supposed to be. So at the end, remember when he bring Hitler to the boat
Yeah.
and he talked to the older man, that's who that was. That was that little boy.
Yeah, I knew that. I didn't know that it was
Yeah.
his aunt's. Uh,
Yep.
I didn't know that was
That's
the man that she was talking about.
yeah. Yep. That was her ex-husband.
Dang. Yeah, man.
That's
That
why
was
I said.
that.
That's why when you was talking about episode 6, I said, at episode 6, it all come together.
Yeah, it came together, and then you think I like how they did the one scene where Jonah was walking with Hitler, and they're
Uh-huh.
walking through this tunnel, and then all of a sudden you start seeing all these ghosts of like Jewish people who
Yep.
was like
I thought that was
basically
dope.
like I thought,
He
yeah, I
got
thought
your
that
back.
was really, really
Yeah.
cool. And so then, that takes you into episode 8, and then now you're like, now this is like the trial of the century. So you got everybody that was
Absolutely.
involved that ended up bringing them there, and then it's like you got Hitler in this glass box, so nobody can, harm him, so he could actually be, charged with these war crimes and all of the other charges
Hmm.
that he had. And I thought it was interesting them playing the card of his lawyer actually being a Jewish person.
Yeah. That
And
was that was
what
an
I,
interesting take, and so was the other lawyer too.
yeah, the other lawyer was a black Jewish person.
Yep.
So I thought that was a interesting way of doing that for the simple fact of like, you got one who is being the prosecutor, the black Jewish person, who's like, yo, he don't deserve rights for what he did. He don't deserve this. He don't deserve that. But
Hmm.
when you look at the way of the land and the way that things are, the other Jewish person was I'm in the middle. It's like, yes, a person that did the things that Hitler done, we all know morally he does not deserve the right to have representation and you know what I mean, and all of that type stuff. I get all of that.
Hmm.
But at the same time, I thought that something that the black Jewish lawyer prosecutor said was like, yo, like this is the law and this that. He was like, yo, like, do you want to be found on the right side of history? And then that
Yeah.
kind of puts you in that tough spot of like, yes, everybody deserves to be represented, but at the same time, it's like, what if I find a way to win this shit? Do you want to be
You
the
gotta
lawyer to
you
get?
gotta ball that shit up and throw it into the biggest fucking fire you ever seen in your life. Because if you are the lawyer responsible for getting Hitler off, oh my god, my nigga, you have no career in law whatsoever. Like after that, it's over with. You may be assassinated by just a random ass person. Like you might get taken out like Lee Harvey Oswald.
Yeah, yeah. You know what I'm saying? They are going to Jack Ruby you. You know what I'm saying? Like coming out
Absolutely.
because because the thing is that's what puts you in that certain spot of like, yo, because there were times where he did not want to object things because he's just like, this is the case. Like it's literally a no win thing. Like you go into that wanting to take a L, which lawyers do not want to do. Lawyers do not like taking L's at all.
That's one of the ones where Like soon as you take that case, you like, hey, my man, I'm gonna make it look like I give a damn, but this is all you. This is all you. There's no way this motherfucker is getting off. Like, I'm telling you right now, there's no way that this shit is happening. I'm telling that motherfucker when we go to that once they left us behind in that council room, and hey, look,
Mhm.
you know what I'm saying? I got to make this look good, but trust me when I tell you, no, you gonna win this. You have to win this. If you don't win this, this is solely because you are trash. If not, I mean, this is to me, this is like the most clear cut case you can never get. Not only that, like the fact that you find this motherfucker after damn near 30 years, 30 plus years at that. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, you gotta get him the fuck out of there.
Yeah. And so then, like, he doesn't want Hitler to take the stand, but Hitler's like, yo, like, I'm going to take the stand. And then I love the way the prosecutor played it because
Mm-hmm.
Hitler was trying to play the game of, man, it wasn't me. It wasn't, you know what I mean? I didn't do nothing wrong, all this type shit.
Yeah,
And
had to
so the
attack that ego.
prosecutor, yeah, and then that prosecutor started fucking with him. So he was like, yo, so you telling me all of these people that admire you, you know what I'm saying? All these people that feel that you are a messiah, you're this, you're that, and then it's like, so now you're saying they're all wrong? It's like, is that
Mm-hmm.
what you telling me? And Hitler couldn't take it no more.
He was sick of
It's
that shit. He
like,
was like, man, you know what? Fuck this. Yeah, nigga, I did it. And not only did I do it, I'm successful at it, motherfucker. I'm in the history books. Everybody reading about me. Ain't that shit on me. And I was like, yo, he killed himself, bro. He killed himself, bro.
hey, that was a very smart strategy, man, to
Yeah.
go about that, man. So, and then that also took me back to what they said when they took them to the chambers. He was like, yo, if you're going to win this, you need to basically, you know what I'm saying, win it. Like, we're not going to give it to
Mm-hmm.
you. Like, you know what I'm saying? You have to go out and you have to take it. And, but the one thing that was, because they it seemed like they got to a point, like he basically did like a whole monologue in the middle of interrogating him on the stand, because like for a prosecutor, he was getting a lot of words in when he wasn't even really asking the question. Like he just basically told like a whole story. It was just like, yo, I don't know if this is allowed necessarily, but I'll take it because it's really good material. But
Right.
to end the show, well, not to end the show because the show ended up ending a different way, but for him to ended up, because that's the one thing that we never really got to get when it comes to Hitler. Like we don't have any closure on Hitler. And for hunters to give us a fictional closure to where, yo, we hunted this dude down, we actually had a trial, and he actually got found guilty on all accounts of the charges that they charged him with. And that
Mm-hmm.
ended up giving him life in prison without the possibility of parole. And for them to do it that way, to actually give people a fictional uh, closure when it comes to
Right.
Hitler, I thought that that was cool, man. I thought that that was really, really great writing to put that in there.
Yeah, I do too. I definitely do too. Especially when a lot of times we see like these shows or these movies or whatever who would have quote unquote um never did that with Hitler. They probably would have just like let him escape or let him get away or whatever. I think they did a great job of basically being like, hey, not only is this motherfucker going to rot in hell for eternity and rot in jail for eternity, he's gonna die.
Yeah.
So
And and
I
and I
thought
tell you
I thought
something,
that was super dope.
and I tell you something else I like when you see the ego of Hitler. So when he was in the jail cell and they came up, and you are a number in jail for the people that don't know that. When you go to prison,
Hmm.
you're not whatever your name is. You are, his number was something crazy like 75645 3 or whatever. And
Hmm.
so when the guard put the food there, He was like, "Do you know who I am?"
Mm-hmm.
He was like, "Do you know who I am?" So he's in there, and I think what that scene showed, or what they were trying to show us, was like you're powerless now.
Yeah.
Like you had the power to control a whole country where you tried to take over the whole world and you had all of these followers and you still
Mm-hmm.
got followers, but in this in this jail cell today, you are powerless and you have no control to do anything.
Right.
And I think that that gives people a fictional satisfaction of like, yo, what if we could have had this happen? This is like one of the biggest what ifs. Um,
Mm-hmm.
what they was able to do with this second seasons of Hunters is
Yeah.
it, they did their job, man. I mean, I thought the whole season was I thought well I do that with Fire Flames, but yes, I thought that was really cool the way they did that to put that in there to show like yo you're powerless now. You are a number on a on the back of your shirt, and that's who you are now. You're not Adolf Hitler. You is 7'5", whatever, whatever, whatever. So I thought that that was really cool.
And I agree with you, man. I think that, you know what I'm saying, them showing that moment was kind of that thing of, hey, I know, what I'm saying, a lot of people think that, what I'm saying, or just not even that, just the fact that, what I'm saying, we had an opportunity to shut this tyrant up to get him the fuck out of here. And when they did that, what I'm saying, they did a great job of showing that at the end of it all, like this is where you end up. This is where you know what I'm saying, you become nothing. And you deserve to become nothing. You don't deserve to have anything and be known for anything at this point. And I thought that was a great job of them doing that. And then last but not least, I gotta say, man, um, just the writing on this show has been phenomenal. Like this is one of those shows that it was unique and what I'm saying, it's so many twists and turns and what I'm saying, and so many shocking moments in this. Like the whole time that we're watching this, they're going back and forth between what's currently going on in the story and then going back into Max's story as well, and basically exposing the fact that Max used to basically be a Nazi guard. He was an SS guard who basically stole the identity. And I mean, we already seen it in the first
Yeah, in the
season.
first
They
season.
kind of showed us what happened, where they called him the Wolf or whatever, and then basically he stole the identity of um, one of the um, one of the Holocaust,
Jewish prisoners.
yeah,
Well,
one of the
Holocaust
Holocaust
victims.
prisoners. Yeah, he basically killed him and stole his identity and basically became him, quote unquote. Um, because he was in love with, what I'm saying, another Holocaust prisoner who was, what I'm saying, the lady Ruthie or whatever, who ended up becoming Jonah's grandmother, or well, who ended up being Jonah's grandmother. We later on found out in the episode. And he loved her. He fell in love with her so much, and he could never get her attention as a doctor. And so when he went in there and basically killed Max, and what I'm saying, got his identity and stole his identity and everything. He comes back and then he finally gets a chance to fall in love with Ruthie. What I'm saying, they help her out and do everything else, and then they have a daughter, and of course they end up having a grandson, Jonah, who he then comes to recruit and bring into the hunters group. But it's crazy because we find out that he was the reason that Ruthie got killed because she
Yeah.
was basically figuring out who he truly was, and she never knew. After all this time, she ended up figuring out that that wasn't the real Max Offerman. And what I'm saying, all of this kind of culminates, and it just basically shows you as time is going on. What I'm saying, like what kind of happened and everything else. And I thought that that was super dope for them to kind of give us the backstory, the full landscape of the backstory, all the while still telling the story of the whole second season as well. And yeah, I was just I think the writing was superb. But are you ready to get into the Fire Flame?
Yes, sir.
Let's do it, man. Let's do it.
Fire! Yoga Flame!
So what you got, man?
So what I was about to do, I was about to do the Five Flames early, but like when going back and looking at this, really trying to refresh my memory, man. I really wish that I would have had the time to go back and watch the first season over again. But
Mm-hmm.
to me, episodes 1 through 6 was above average,
Mm-hmm.
but man, they had one of the strongest closings, man. Like episode 7 and 8 was, I mean, those two episodes was a file within itself. But
Absolutely.
when I put the whole season together, for the way that they was able to close this out, the subject matter that they used, to give us one of the not the greatest, but a pretty high up what if. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I would have to give the season. I would have to give the whole season a 4. Um, anytime you got the great Al Pacino, you know what I'm saying? Even though he wasn't like the focal point of this this TV series, but at the same time, you gotta understand, like, I mean, Al Pacino's up there now, man. Like he's this dude was born in 1940, yo. Like I had went and looked, I was like, yo, this motherfucker was alive when this shit was going on, man. Like this is crazy. But but yeah, man, shout out to the rest of the cast, man. Everybody did good. And then I knew who the one guy was, man. The one dude that plays the one guy, what's his name?
Lonnie.
Lonnie.
Yeah, that's
Lonnie
dude from How I
is,
Met Your Mother.
well, that's not where I know him from. I know him from I kept looking at him and I was like, yo, I just watched something he was in. So I did a coming soon, not a coming soon. I did a what we watching
Mm-hmm.
like last month. Fleischman's in Trouble.
He's
He
in that.
plays Lizzie Kaplan's husband in that show. And
Oh,
I
no,
kept
that's
looking at
Ted.
him.
That's Ted from How I Met Your Mother.
Yeah, I never watched How I Met Your Mother.
Oh,
But
you missing out on the excellent stuff.
yeah, like I kept looking at him. I'm like, where do I know him from? And then bang, it finally clicked in my head. I was like, oh shit, he's in Fleischman's in Trouble. But yeah, man, I'm gonna give this a 4, man. I thought they really did a really, really good job, and gotta shout out the writers, man. I see one name, man, David Well. So shout out to him, but I'm gonna give it a 4.
That's what's up, man. I'm giving it a 4.5 because the writing, um, like I said, the writing was superb. The writing was amazing. I haven't seen a show this complete in a long, long time. Um, they picked up right exactly where they left off. Not only that, to be able to bring back Al Pacino, even though they killed his character off in the first season, but still be able to bring him back by doing the flashback episode. I thought that was brilliant because this show really is already in itself amazing, but to add Al Pacino in it with his amazing acting and what I'm saying how well he does, yo, like you gotta have him back. Even if like like they did in doing flashbacks, you gotta have him back. So I'm gonna give it a 4.5. I thought this season was amazing, and it sucks that this is gonna be the last season. I really look forward to them continuing at least for another one, but that's cool too.
Cool deal. I ain't mad at it.
Yeah, man. So let's get into the coming soon, bro.
Let's do it.
Coming soon to own on video and DVD.
All right. So what do we have next?
So we got my what we watching. So we got Avatar, Way of
Mm-hmm.
Water coming up for the next episode. You plan on seeing it this weekend? I've already
Mm-hmm.
spoken about it, so there's really no reason to go on about it. That's why I didn't give too much detail, is because I knew that we was gonna get into the movie. But look, man, make sure you eat a full course meal. Maybe not you fall asleep. But
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna go to sleep.
just make sure you got some time on your hands. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Going in to
yeah.
go see this because you're gonna be there for a while. You know what I'm saying? You're definitely gonna be
Okay.
there for a while. I was fortunate enough to watch this movie by myself.
Hmm.
Nobody was in the movie theater but me.
That is dope.
So
Well,
I
see,
was
that's
able to have a
also that's dope, but that's also weird because they supposed to be cracking that record. So I don't know if they gonna. I don't know how they gonna pull this one off.
yeah, I don't think they're gonna pull out. They're not gonna pass the first one. Um because the last time I saw I thought it said something about 1.9, and I
Hmm.
think the first one was ended up getting a 2.1 billion, if I'm not mistaken. So
Yeah.
they might not catch the first one, but
Right.
yeah, but it was crazy. It was crazy watching it in there by myself. I was like, yo, like I got the whole movie theater to myself. So that was pretty cool. But it's gonna be interesting to hear some of your thoughts on this though. So I'm looking forward to the next episode.
Absolutely, man. I can't wait. So y'all make sure y'all stay tuned, man, for the next episode. Until then, if you like this episode, if you love this episode, if you didn't like this episode, if you are like, what the fuck is Hunter? Hit us up. Let us know on IG and Twitter at ViewerNonPod. Hit us up on Facebook, VA Pod Watch Group. Make sure, what I'm saying, if you got a request or if you have something that you'd like to hear from us, to always send those requests at either one of those three social sites or I don't know, man. Maybe find one of us on the street and be like, hey man, let's get it done. But if you like to find me as well, hit me up on Twitter at Scoots Bronson. I got a link tree in the bio. You can find me everywhere else there.
And y'all can find me at s.foster8 on Instagram and on Twitter at 28 minutes or less pod. That is just on Instagram. Follow the podcast 28 minutes or less. I got something brewing, so be on the lookout for the next episode. But still, as of
Hmm.
right now, episode 112, Benji, about the number 1984 number one high school basketball player in the country, Benjamin Wilson. So go check that out on all major platforms.
Absolutely, man. And listen, thank you for your continued support. It is always appreciated. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening. Um, and until the next episode, like I said, Hollywood, man. That's the wrap.
Cut.